Hello folks and welcome to the video. Right, today we're going to take a light-hearted look at some advice for beginners to the hobby of metal detecting. Now we're going to talk about metal detectors, we're going to talk about where you can buy them, we're going to talk about accessories, and we're going to talk about rules and regulations. Now don't forget, I'm in England in the UK. So your rules and regulations may be different depending on where you live. I'm not going to do this video on my own. I've enlisted the help of my cousin, Doug Nuffin. Doug Nuffin has been detecting for a long time and he's got some interesting opinions. The kind of stuff you hear quite often. So we're going to flick between Doug and myself, and I hope that by the end of the video you've got some information that's helpful and useful. At least I hope that my information is helpful and useful. Right, let's get stuck in.
Metal detectors? Well, blimey, I mean, you got to spend a lot of money, ain't you? I mean, you don't want to get one of them cheap things because they just don't work. I mean, they're rubbish, to be honest. I mean, you got to spend about £800 to £1,000. I mean, your good metal detector must have multi-frequency. I mean, you've got to be able to do custom programs, really, because none of them are any good out of the box. It's not until someone with a bit of knowledge gets hold of them, puts a few special programs in, then you actually start to find stuff. Oh, and you need your EMI pulse width modulator, alternating current descender, transmission fluid, carburetor. Yeah, that's very, very important indeed, yeah. So, to be honest, if you ain't got all the modern technology and you don't spend a lot of money, well, you'll be wasting your time, mate.
Okay, so modern metal detectors. There are absolutely loads of them out there at the moment. Some of them do cost 800, 1,000, 1,500, upwards of that even. But you don't have to spend that much to get a good metal detector. Despite what Doug thinks, let me assure you that the more budget-friendly machines these days, they are very, very good. You can get a good performing metal detector that will find you lots of history in a much cheaper price bracket, even under £300. And certainly once you start going to 300 to 400, 450, you can get packages that have a lot of the latest design features, things like wireless headphones, waterproof bodies, collapsible. They're very lightweight, and most importantly, they perform very well. They are good detectors. They're not to be sniffed at. They're often called beginners detectors, but please don't let that put you off. The fact of the matter is, you don't need to spend 800 to £1,000 or even more to get a detector that works and that will find you serious historical coins and artifacts. You can do it on a budget. Okay, so what about where you should get your metal detector from?
Buying a metal detector? Well, now, you don't want to go to none of the shops because they're just going to charge you loads of money and they'll give it all that and they'll go blah, blah, blah. You want this one, you want that one. No good, mate. You want to speak to someone who's been doing it a long time like me, get some good advice and then get yourself on a nice second-hand website. Get yourself a cheap deal. There's loads of metal detectors about, some good gear out there actually. Yeah, save yourself a fortune, mate. Get a nice second-hand one. But yeah, you come and speak to me, mate. I'll sort you out. But don't go to the shops. Nah, giving it all that. Rubbish, mate. Rubbish.
Okay, so where are you going to buy your metal detector, and what metal detector are you going to buy? Well, you can go second hand. Lots of people do, and lots of people are very happy doing that. But there are some things you need to consider. Are you confident buying the right metal detector for you second hand? Are you going to get good warranties? Have you had the right advice? Now, if you go to a retailer, they can advise on the different machines that they have in your budget, and they can give you some good advice on what will work for you. Now, obviously, when you go to a retailer, a specialist in the hobby, they want you to buy from them. However, they do work on reputation. So generally speaking, you will get some good advice. Once you've got that advice and you understand the machines that they have, you can make a good informed choice. You will have a brand new detector. It will come with warranties. So if there are any issues, you can send it back. These are good advantages to have. So in my opinion, while there's nothing wrong with secondhand, usually, with so many good machines around these days at affordable prices, with the opportunities to spread payments with retailers, I would recommend, especially if you're new to the hobby, use the specialist retailers if you can, take some advice from them, and then make a good informed choice and get yourself a new detector. If you have to go second hand, it's not going to be the end of the world, but please choose wisely. But if you can go to a specialist and get a nice new machine, that's what I would recommend.
Well, we're pretty lucky in the UK, really, when it comes to permission, because there's lots of what they call common land, you know what I mean? Public rights of way, old council fields, places that don't really belong to no one, to be honest. It's sort of like what you pay for in your rates, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So you can go on them, really. I mean, it's nice if you can get a farm, but I mean, it's not the end of the world if you can't, because there's loads of places you can go. Yeah, common land, public rights of way, you know, places like that, places where they don't know who the owner is. Just get your detector out, get on there and get cracking, mate.
Okay, now there's a lot said about where you can and can't go metal detecting. Here in the UK, it's quite simple. If you're going on land, you need permission. The beaches are a little bit different. There is a bit more flexibility with beaches, but there are still some restrictions. Now I'm going to drop some links below to give you more information on this. There is a bit more freedom, as I say, to go on beaches, but you still need to know a few things. As for land, permission is essential. If you don't have permission from the landowner, you can get in serious trouble. Anyone that tells you that there's free land or common land and it'll be okay to go detecting on it without asking anyone, it is simply not true. Here in the UK, that is against the law. You must obtain permission wherever you're detecting. Please do get permission before you go detecting.
Oh dear, code of conduct, Treasure Act, blah blah. All that stuff was just invented to keep the archaeologists happy. I mean, code of conduct. I mean, come on, it's only a field, isn't it? I mean, you can't do any harm, can you? I mean, just dig your hole, have a look for your stuff, move on, you know what I mean? And as for the Treasure Act, well, mate, if you find it, you keep it, do you know what I'm saying? Why tell anyone about it? That's what I say. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your hobby, isn't it? Who's going to tell you what to do? Why should anyone tell you what to do? Nah, code of conduct, Treasure Act, it's all a load of la-di-da rubbish, really. Don't worry about that.
Okay, let's talk about a few things that you need to know about in regards good conduct and working within the law and being a responsible detectorist. First of all, the code of conduct. Now, this is just common sense. If you follow the code of conduct, you're not only being responsible, but you are growing the reputation of the hobby and you are endorsing trust in people who go metal detecting. There are some people that don't like people using metal detectors, and if they had their way, we would not be allowed to go. So it is crucial that you understand and follow the code of conduct. I'll put a link down below. Please do read it. There'll also be a link down below to the Treasure Act. The Treasure Act is law. There are certain things, if you are lucky enough to find them, that you must declare by law. If you don't, you could get in big trouble. So please do read and understand the Treasure Act. I also want to mention something called the Portable Antiquities Scheme. This is where archaeologists called finds liaison officers are available for you to declare your finds to them so that they can be recorded on a historical database. Now, this is something that I love to do. It makes me very proud. I am adding to the history of my land, my area, my country. By doing this, we're working with archaeology. We're giving something back. Thousands of detectorists use the Portable Antiquities Scheme, and it's another tool that grows massive trust. It allows us to work together. There's lots and lots of beautiful, amazing finds on the Portable Antiquities Scheme. All great information on where people were and what they were doing in our land. And that is thanks to hobby detectorists in the main for declaring their finds and helping to put the database together. Link down below to that as well. Please do have a look at all three links. These are things you really do need to know about, and they are things that grow the reputation and the trust in our hobby.
Pinpointers? I've never used one, mate. No, you don't need a pinpointer. Waste of good money, that is. Just have a little practice with the old coil, zeroing in on the target. Once you've learned how to do that, you'll have it out no problem, mate. Now, don't waste your money on pinpointers. You don't need all these lardy-door accessories. It just takes money out your wallet, mate. Save your money for down a pub. Don't bother buying a pinpointer.
Pinpointers. Now, as you can see, this one is quite muddy. That's because I use it a lot. I don't know a detectorist who hasn't got one of these, but every now and again I see a comment on a forum from somebody saying I don't need to use one. I have a technique with my metal detector where I always know where the find is. For me, this is essential. There are so many targets that I struggle to find. They might be very deep. They might be in the sidewall of the plug. I don't want to damage them by hacking around with a trowel or a spade. So going in with one of these and knowing exactly where it is, for me, it saves me a load of time and it protects the finds, and it's essential. Do you need one of these? Personally, I think you do. The good news is you can normally get one with your metal detector if you buy it from a retailer. They will normally do you some kind of package or combo deal so you can get it all in one price. And that way as well, you make sure that you get a decent pinpointer with good, reliable quality. Because there are a few out there that are a little bit questionable in how they perform. So that's a good option. Perhaps buying it from a retailer with your metal detector in one package. So do you need one? I've never met a detectorist who doesn't carry one.
Gloves? Health and safety? Oh, don't make me laugh. Listen, you're only parking the car and going on a field. I mean, it can't do you any harm, can it? I mean, people get carried away with all this stuff, but I mean, flipping it, you're only going digging, ain't you? I mean, I've been detecting for over 20 years and I've never worn gloves, and it ain't done me any harm. Oh, there's a blue elephant over there. I think I'll go and take him for a ride.
Well, hopefully Doug will be okay after he's had a cup of tea and a lie down. But seriously, folks, there are some strange things on fields, and not just farmers' fields. All over our land, you get things like strong weed killers, You get fertilizers, you get waste products put down to help with the land. You get discarded items, broken, torn bits of can, rusty old sharp bits of metal. I have even found a veterinary's hypodermic needle while I've been metal detecting. So for me, it makes perfect sense to put your gloves on. It's simple, it's easy to detect in gloves, they're not expensive, but they might save you from a nasty incident. Yes, it might be low risk, but it's there nonetheless. And why take a risk? I would never be without my gloves. Also, you've got other things as well. Some of your fines might not be in a very nice state, and actually having some gloves on is probably not a bad idea until you get them home and clean them. There are all sorts of reasons to wear a pair of gloves, in my honest opinion. I also carry plasters, and one other thing that I find essential is a bottle of water or some kind of fruit juice, anything that can rehydrate me. Exercise, yes, that's what we do when we go metal detecting. We're walking and swinging and we're digging. Sometimes the weather is hot. I am never without a bottle of water to make sure that I can refresh myself and rehydrate. But certainly the gloves are an essential thing, in my honest opinion. It's another one of those common sense things, folks. Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you found it useful. My thanks to Doug for his wonderful input. And until the next time, folks, good luck, happy hunting, and we'll see you soon.